Hello family, glad you can join me. This is going to be a big session for us working with basics, and then I want to show you the process of how through the basics we can come up with combinations and stuff and cover all the basics and get into some details and stuff. So we're going to do a bunch of, I'm going to work with the jab, and we're going to work off the jab, and in this one a little bit of the theme is I want to get that hook in there as well, and we're going to do from the jab and the hook, we're going to throw some kicks in there as well, and you're going to see the whole process of how you can work on your basics and how the basics lead into some combinations and things, and you'll see how that evolves and stuff. All right, so you should be warmed up, right? We're just going to get right into it, especially when you're doing jabs and stuff like that in the beginning. That's can definitely be part of your warm-up. So let's start with the jab, the lead, right? Whether you're a lefty or a righty, doesn't really matter, okay? So generally what we're doing right now is I want us to be doing something low and something high. Mid to high or low to high. The point is having two levels and stuff. Sometimes I can get really low like it's a gut. Sometimes I go mid because I imagine I'm fighting somebody my size and stuff. But, you know, okay? So I'm going to narrate as we go through this. You should be doing your jabs as well, and I'm going to try to touch on all the little excuse me, variations and things that are going on right now and stuff. So low, high, and at this beginning part I want us to keep in mind what we're going to talk about here. What we're going to try to highlight here is one where you're maintaining your level, your body position, the plane, and one way you're extending for length, okay? So an easy way, if you're looking in a mirror or whatever, but you could feel it, you could see it with your eyes, you see? You could see which ones are a shorter jab, where the jab, the end range of the punch will end at, at the max of what it can do and stuff. And anything further than that is going to depend on some kind of rotation or something else you do to get you further out. Not just a rotation, it could also be a step, and we're going to work on all of that stuff, okay? So I want you to be doing that right now and stuff. I want you to have some jabs, which are basically the snapping out. It could be a driving jab, but the point is it's not a long distance one. It's one contained or maintained within the plane that you give from your body. And then there's one that's a little bit longer, one that can reach out because of some kind of bending and rotation in your body, but also your legs. Ooh. Cool? All right, no worries, because we're just going to keep doing it anyway. So don't worry about whether you miss anything or not. All right, we're going to have a really nice transition into all of this stuff. All right, so jabbing. Right, so I'm showing you here now. You can see, you can watch me, you can feel it yourself, but you could also watch me. You can see the jabs that are at a certain range, and then you can see the things I'm doing in order to reach out in the range. Here I'm exaggerating how you can gain a little bit more of that through steps. And yeah, that's certainly going to transition us into how to cover distance and how to, actually hit your target, because most of the time, call me crazy, but your target is not going to stand there and just get punched and stuff. And also it's not what you should be practicing and training for anyway, regardless of whether you ever punch anything, ever. Okay, so you got to cover that distance, right? And this is a classic one that we're covering. And in this covering distance one, the emphasis that we're going to work on here, or what I want you to keep in mind now, is when you're throwing the punch. Okay, don't worry, there's plenty of time through it. You're not going to miss anything in the video or whatever, because we do heaps of repetition here. Okay, so the point is, okay, when do you release the punch? Do you release the punch as you're stepping? You release the punch when you step or after you step, okay? And there's no right and wrong, and there's differences, and you may just have comfort levels, you may generate more power doing something. Okay, so here what you're seeing is I'm punching as my lead foot lands, okay? So practice a bunch of those, and we'll work it from there, and let's see what we can do. Okay, we're back. Anytime that I do some cuts or edits, most likely it's just to get rid of any little breather moment or moment I may walk around and just outstretch something, or maybe just fix my shirt or something like that, or whatever. I gotta somehow find little ways to reduce the video time. Okay, so we're back to our when we're throwing the punch, at what point. Now here, I'm showing you the step happens. I think what you're seeing here is the step happens first, then the punch comes. Okay, ultimately I want you to practice all three of them and stuff like that. Now what we're talking about is this punch comes when the rear foot lands. So we're advancing, but when that rear foot, now you see how we can mix and match and have fun with that. Okay, you don't have to be advancing when you're throwing the punch, okay, but that you could allow that step, that sort of rise up and down, that little stomp that you're going to do to help you thrust forward, even though you're not going forward, but your chi, the energy that you're generating and stuff is, or yeah, any punch involves some forward energy, okay, the strike outward, right? So here I'm just showing you another side of it, and throughout this whole series I'm going to keep switching angles so that you can see all of the sides and stuff like that. It's morning time now, sort of overcast because the sun isn't, the sun is still rising and stuff like that. So, and it's kind of brisk out. Right. So we're going to be mixing and matching and playing with a whole bunch of that here. I want you to feel that flow. I want you to feel what leverages, what's generated for you, what you feel comfortable with, which ones might be better to help you generate speed, which ones are going to be better to help you generate power. Okay, here's a classic one, right? The step and a punch, step and the jab. So the stepping and the jab together, not only is it giving us distance that we're covering or whatever, but it's giving us momentum, and it's giving us the power and everything. It's all a part of the coordination and stuff. Classic one. They can be thrusting on the step. They can be gliding, sliding. So I'm just showing you all these little things here. See here, I'm stomping. So really what it is it's creating leverage. And a little bit later, you're going to see that you could actually use that as a type of fake, as a type of trying to bait your opponent into it. So think of it literally like racers, runners who line up on a race, and a person who makes a false start or whatever, he'll trigger another person because that just triggers everything, right? So, yeah. All right. Now let's keep working on our drills now. We're going to throw some stuff in. Don't worry, we'll work it out and stuff. But you see, I'm thinking of it too as we're going. I mean, I want to think of something that's going to train us and also have us move in some kind of decent progression. I don't want to go too crazy, right? So we did the low-high jab, right? So we're going to keep with that. And I wanted to also in this theme get our hooks in and stuff. I wanted us to work on some hooks and stuff, right? So what we're doing here is we're going to do the some jabs, probably low-high. We're also going to get the cross in. So we're doing a 1-2, and then we're getting a double jab in, the double hook in, right? I'll figure it out. So let's see. Here we go. Right. So, all right. So that was a precursor of what we're going to do. Now, before we do that, let's just backpedal a little bit, fam, and let's get warmed up in some of those hooks, right? We worked on hooks before. We'll do some hooks again, and I'll talk about some hooks again, right? Same thing with all of our punches, the same thing for the hook too. Whether it's more so or not, doesn't matter. The point is you can throw a hook in place. The point is you can step forward and throw the hook, okay? You can tilt your body and then get the hook, or you could step to the side, or you can sidestep and come on an angle to get the hook, and we're going to do all of that today. So get ready, right? Get ready. But now, okay, here's a classic one. Let's say how I can just generally keep it really fast for you, called circling the opponent. And in the process of circling your opponent, and one of the main things or one of the benefits to circling your opponent is you're trying not to remain stationary, and you're trying not to remain in a straight line direct attack availability to your opponent. Okay, so you want to constantly be getting out of their direct line of attack. You want to be coming from an angle. You're playing the angles, whether it's defensively or offensively. And of course, okay, what do we really know? It's both, right? So yeah, so you're getting out of the line by stepping. You see how I'm stepping to the side, and also you're coming with the hook. So if you sidestep your opponent, okay, the number one thing that they're going to do, no matter what, is they're going to follow you. Now, they might not, do that in such a weak way, but they're going to have to turn. They're obviously not going to remain in place while you're now on their side. They're going to turn and rotate and defend against that, okay? So as they're rotating toward your sidestep, you're throwing a hook, okay, that's going in the opposite direction of your sidestep. So So see how we're moving to the left here? Watch, see how I'm coming to the left? But the hooks are all coming from my left back to the right. So really what we call that is, in a way, you're walking your opponent into your punch, okay? By doing a combination of sidestepping or circling around your opponent, okay? And then throwing a punch back toward that to the end. The opposite of throwing a punch back would be to throw the right hand. Okay, the power punch as you're circling and stuff, but that's a different thing, and we're not practicing that now. Now, another classic technique, which is another version of this, is you use the hook to get out of a position, to do the circling. In this particular case, I'm circling first. So really what I'm doing is I'm kind of creating... In a large part of what you see so far, I'm creating the side angle, okay, to throw the hook, okay? But there are times when you throw the hook in order to ride out of a position. So the hook, sort of keeps your opponent in a certain position while you can ride that new angle away, so you can slip away and stuff. So now I'm showing you how, all right, how we're coming up with drills on the spot, how we're going to come up with combinations. They got to be logical. You're throwing a punch to your opponent's gut, his defense goes to the gut. You throw one to his head, his defense goes to the head, right? When his defense goes to the head, you now throw the hook to the body. Now his defense will go back to the body to block that, and you throw a hook to the head, right? Makes sense, right? So when you imagine what's happening. Don't just do them in a vacuum. You can, for the fun of it. I do that sometimes too. It's not like I have to always think it's most realistic. Sometimes I'm just enjoying the process. But also have times when you are aware of what your moves are doing and, whether they make sense or not. And, sometimes it's fun to just string together a bunch of kicks and punches, but, just for fun, okay? But that doesn't mean that they always make sense. And there are some that you may never, truly ever do together. They just, don't make sense. I mean, never say never, right? Okay? Here, what we're doing is we're turning on the jab. So that first one is that leverage, but that second one, you're already in the pocket now. You're already on the angle, and you're riding out of your angle. So whether that's a slant upwards or a rise upwards or whatever, it's not hard to see right here and stuff, but you turn on it. The turning on it can be like a cuffing hook, so it's almost snapping back. And here you can see the turning on it can be a driving outward force. So you're turning on it, okay, but you're not turning on it to still keep it kind of close. You're turning on it so that you can drive it out, okay? The important thing is that first one. So how can I quickly do this so that we don't get lost away with a million words? That first hook to the body, that freezes your opponent. That second hook is the one that you're looking to really do damage. I mean, let's not nitpick or whatever. You'd like to do damage on everyone. But some punches have their dominant effects or more effective effects, and then other ones have different things and stuff. So in the particular case of the double jab, okay, you can throw both of the jabs. You can turn on both of them. Or you can have them both snapping or whatever, or both of them can just be like knocking on the door and just feeler stuff, okay? However, in a classic sense, that first hook, okay, did I say jab? The hook. The same thing with the jab, the same with any of our punches. But that first hook, the hook to the body, sort of freezes that opponent up. And it's probably going to get their guard down. It may not always get their guard down, doesn't matter, okay? Let's say it gets their guard down, but it freezes that opponent. And then you ride up on the second one, okay, with your extra power and your extra cuffing and stuff. All right. Going along, man. We're getting there. We're just starting, and we're going to get some kicks in there too and stuff. And we're going to bring it all together. So when we're doing jabs, we're doing hooks. Now you're noticing how we're also doing the steps. Okay? So I don't want you to only be able to have good leverage and only be able to have power by stepping to the side or stepping forward and stuff. I want you to practice and be able to generate good power and a good feeling in a relationship to your punch in a standing position, in the position that you're in, without advancing, without changing that position as well. Okay? However, one of the classic things in any situation is to constantly be moving. It's an ebb and flow of distances between you and your opponent, okay, between you and yourself, between you and life, or whatever. So it definitely is good to be able to move around and be able to change your positions and to constantly be at a good distance and to match your opponent and match life, or whatever it gives you and stuff, to be in harmony with that, okay? So generally speaking, look at my feet here. See how the small steps, okay? Nothing that's really crossing over too much, right? You could feel that and play with that and stuff, exaggerate it and sort of like as if you're tap dancing or you're doing a march or you're stomping. Feel that, and once again, that brings us back to before. Feel that, and then mix and match punches with that, and see how you can coordinate that, because there's going to be some positions and stepping that you do where another punch won't really work well with it. You'll feel like you're fighting your body in order to throw that punch during that particular step. I mean, back to our hooks, and we're advancing on our hooks. Each hook allows us to do the advancing. Okay, each hook helps us to advance. One, it does a sort of masking, so as we're hooking, we can move forward, okay? But also, when we're throwing the punch, it's giving us momentum, and that momentum we're using to move forward. All right, well, take a breather for a minute, and let's get right back at it.